What's up, guys? Rick here to break down everything about the Travelers Championship and DFS. But first, we have to talk about last week's RBC Heritage because it was an absolutely massive win for the community. I was getting screenshots all night, basically, of everyone who had Webb Simpson outright tickets, everyone who won on DraftKings, and I do want to recognize at least some of the guys that sent me screenshots or notes because it was a big one, and we have to celebrate our wins because it's a lot of fun. We'll try to do it again this week at the Travelers, but first, let me just shout out a couple of guys here. Jed Tiffany took down the $150 single entry on FanDuel. Bobby Gordon, Pick Six Island. No, I'm sorry. Bobby Gordon and Miles both had Webb outright tickets. Pick Six Island took second in the FanDuel Eagle, which is the $400K guaranteed. Now I've got some other ones here. Steven Small turned his $12 into $28. Paul Murphy turned his $1 into $40. That's a pretty good ROI. Christian Anderson won $105. These are getting progressively bigger. You see where we're going here. Michael won $230. That was a Webb 28-1 outright ticket. Russ Bus won $250. That was a FanDuel lineup. Josh Northcutt turned his $68 into $272. Keith O'Neill, I didn't see how much he was in for, but out for $323 on DraftKings. Brando turned his $17 into $373. We're already at $373, and we've got a lot more to go. You see where this is headed here. Mark Tishner turned his $70 into $660. He had various Webb Simpson outrights, top fives, top tens. Corey Eastman turned his $10 into $1,323. Josiah Blevins, who I think also plays in my video game league, turned his $60 into $1,680 thanks to a Webb ticket. CMV turned his 71 into 2,000 thanks to a Webb ticket. TJ, my buddy TJ from the Slack channel, 300 into 2420. Enjoy the extra honeymoon spending money, my man. Power Fade won the driving range 3 entry max for 10 grand. We still have more to come. That's a 5-figure score. We still have more to come because Michael Kimmy turned his $61 into 15,000 by finishing third in the 400,000 Eagle on FanDuel. So I think we had in the community second place and third place in that same contest for this week. Travis Miles won the 25 grand to first drive the green. A few other great lineups turned his 210 into 27,964. And if we stopped right there, it would have been a community win of $62,779 of just what was sent to me. Just screenshots, just tweets, just emails that were sent to me. And then Nate Knox goes out and wins the Millie Maker, $1 million. Unbelievable. Congratulations, Nate. Congratulations, everyone. This was a massive community win. I'm glad we were all on it. I hope, through this restart, it's been really, really good for 2 weeks. We are going to try to keep the momentum going. Everything that I'm going to show you in this video is on RickRunGood.com, which you can go sign up, all the tools. I have a couple of winners that I drew for month access to RickRunGood.com. Those winners are Detroit What and I'm Braden. I've reached out to both of you about getting you set up. If you would like to join RickRunGood.com, be a part of this great community that we have going that is seeing a lot of success right now. I'll give away a couple of months for free. There are 2 ways to enter that drawing. Here on the YouTube channel, if you're watching the video, make sure you like this video. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that little bell I just learned about this. That little bell notification, it'll let you know when a new video is up. A lot of the stuff that we do so timely, right? There's only a couple days before lock. You want to be able to see it as soon as it comes out, especially for bets, because you want to make sure you get the best number possible. So subscribe, like the video, comment below with who is going to win the Travelers Championship. The other way, a lot easier way to win. Not as many of you enter this way. Leave a 5-star rating and review on my podcast. It is called 300 Yards to Unknown. It is the audio feed for this YouTube channel, plus a few extra things. So you can search for 300 Yards to Unknown. You can search for Rick Run Good, or the link is in the description, of course. That is another way to enter. 5-star rating and review. Say something nice about the show. Leave me your preferably Twitter handle so I can get a hold of you if you win. Wow. Unbelievable, scorching hot week for the community. I could barely sleep last night after that event, but we've got work to do. We're going to look ahead to the Travelers Championship, and we're going to jump into it right now. Oh man, I am still amped up from all of those winners. Awesome to see. Here's the course key stats for this week, and a very small but powerful change that I made here. You can now go check out any tournament that you want. You don't have to wait until that week. You can go see what the correlated stats are every single week, what the most important ones are. If you are new, this is a regression model, which is just a fancy way of saying that I go back and I look at a dozen years of data when it's available, of course, and we have great data for TPC River Highlands. I compare how golfers did in every stat category on tour for that season, and then how they did at every course during that season. And we essentially build profiles of golfers that are finding success based on their skill sets at every single course. So what you're seeing here at the Travelers Championship, TPC River Highlands, the most important of the common stats is strokes gained off the tee. Only 9 other courses is strokes gained off the tee more important. Strokes gained approach 24th out of 50, which means it's basically a middle of the road course in terms of the correlation model. Now, the eye test would tell you strokes gained approach is probably more important than that, but the model is telling us that it is slightly more important than the tour average. This is a week where, so we are still in this stretch of golf where 3 short courses in a row, Colonial, anybody can win. Harbor Town, we saw that leaderboard. You don't have to be long off the tee. Anybody can win. This is Travelers. It's TPC River Highlands, 6,800 yards, par 70, very short course. The only defense around here is the pin placement. So I expect this to be another birdie fest unless they get, 20-mile-an-hour winds or something like that. You can unleash the Kraken, as Bryson says, a little bit more at TPC River Highlands. You can use the driver. You can put yourself in some pretty good positions and turn this into a pitch and putt. But still, a lot of different ways to win here. Ches Reavie has won here. Obviously, Bubba Watson has won 3 times. Those guys could not be any more different. So it is kind of fun to see. But we're definitely in that swing of golf that almost anyone can win, but we're getting out of it. We're kind of getting back towards, strokes gained off the tee is going to be critically important. Bombers are going to have more of an advantage. So this is kind of, I don't want to say it's the last week, but we're trending out of this. So keep that in mind. Let's go to strokes gained off the tee. If that is our most important stat for this week, well, who is great at it? Obviously, Bryson. We know all the work that he's done. Gains 1.1 stroke per round off the tee. Only him and Cameron Champ average a positive 1 stroke off the tee per round. Cameron Champ, on the other hand, pretty terrible at every other category. He's average on approach. He's below average on around the green, and he is a tiny hair below average in strokes gained putting. So Bryson, on the other hand, not only does he gain a stroke off the tee, but he gains a whole nother stroke in the other three categories combined. So he is an absolute stud. Sergio Garcia is here. Sergio Garcia is $8,500. Obviously one of the best ball strikers on the planet. Let me show you this from last week. I'm going to pull up the live leaderboard. This leaderboard updates every 15 minutes throughout the golf tournament from Thursday to Sunday. It is absolutely free. If you're not using this, you are probably wasting money. Like, this is not only great to watch and see how many DraftKings points everyone has, what their salary was, what their strokes gained are, what their tournament position is. Not only is it great for that, this tool makes me so much money from betting matchups. Round by round matchups, because you can sort by every single round. So if you're not using this, probably pretty silly of you. But my point being, if you sort by strokes gained tee to green, Sergio Garcia led the field in strokes gained tee to green last week, 13.8 of them. Lost 3 strokes putting. In fact, it was way worse than that before Sunday. He was down 4.8 strokes on the greens on Sunday. He did gain 1.8 in that final round. But that was like, to have this many strokes gained tee to green, to lose that many putting and still finish T5 is really impressive. And now you go to a place that really, I don't want to say appeals, but yeah, appeals to his skill set. So we'll go back here. Jon Rahm off the tee. He's 4th on this list. Rory Mcilroy, he's 5th. Johnny Vegas is 6th, $6,700. Played well last week. I think he finished T17 in a really stacked field at Harbour Town. That's a really good skill set if you're interested for Johnny Vegas. And then I will show you the ball strikers before we jump over to the cheat sheet here, or the approach guys. Mark Leishman actually leads the field in strokes gained approach. He does not have as many rounds as someone like a Colin Morikawa, who is 2nd on this list. Patrick Cantlay is 3rd. We'll talk about him in a second. Justin Thomas is 4th. Oh, by the way, Webb Simpson, your newest champion on the PGA Tour. Yeah, he's 5th too. So a lot of really good names here. We'll talk through some of these guys, but not a lot of these are surprises. So let's jump over to the cheat sheet. There are 6 golfers over $10,000, led by Rory Mcilroy, $10,002, which I think has got to be the lowest price. I think he was 11.8 at Colonial. I think he was 11.6, 11.4 last week, 11.2 now. His worst 2 finishes in recent memory. He's played well for like 80% of those rounds, but the 2 rounds that kind of derailed him have been pretty poor. All right, let's just get this out there. I think Bryson's going to win this week. I really like Justin Thomas. I think Justin Thomas is trending in a big way. He's finally found something. Justin Thomas is 10,008. The guy was running hot. The first 2 weeks of the year, he felt like nothing was going right for him. Finally on Sunday, the lid came off the hole. He started to make some putts. I love Justin Thomas, but Bryson. What Bryson's doing is crazy. Okay, so he goes 3rd at Colonial, 8th at Harbour Town. I've said this, I feel like I've said this 24 times. Those courses should not work for him. They shouldn't. And he still finished 1 stroke out of the playoff at Colonial and played basically well enough outside of 1 round, which I'll talk about in a second. At the Heritage, still finished 8th there. 9th at this event 2 years ago, 8th last year. Obviously a course that he likes. It's a course that should allow him to open it up a little bit more than he was able to at Harbour Town. Like, the gut feeling says, I think Bryson's going to win this. Like, he's dying to break through. I think this is the week. Let me show you one more thing on Bryson. If we go and look at his strokes gained from last week, and I want to go by round here. So let's go to Bryson. We'll go by round. Okay, this round right here. His 3rd round at the RBC Heritage. I think he shot a 71? 70. Okay, shot a 70, which was, that's 1 under. He was 1 under. Now, if you remember, the scoring from last week was bonkers. If you were 1 under, you were losing shots to the field, like literally 2 or 3 shots to the field, depending on the day. And Saturday's scoring average was really, really low, and Bryson did not take advantage. That round, he lost 1 stroke off the tee and 1 stroke on approach. You can see he's not lost in both of those categories since the third round of the Shriners. It was 27 rounds ago. Obviously, it's post-transformation, but like it just rarely does he ever lose in both of those categories in a single round. So what I'm saying is, feels like his 8th place finish last week was basically his floor. That round was one of the worst we've had in recent memory, 27 rounds. And he still finishes in a tie for 8th. Like, that's a great sign. That's a great sign. So I just feel like he's going to win this week. Really good signs from Brooks. Brooks did it off the tee. He led the field in strokes gained off the tee last week. I don't know if I will roster all that much of him, but certainly like him. Patrick Cantlay. Let's talk about Patrick Cantlay. He's $9,800. He underwent a procedure to repair a deviated septum after the Genesis. So he was already planning to sit out for a couple, I think like 2 months, I think he was planning on sitting out. We get the shutdown. That extends it. So we have not seen him since, mid-February? That was the Genesis? I was there. I think it was mid-February. Yeah. But his last 2 starts, 11th at Pebble, 17th at Genesis, back-to-back 15th place finishes here at TPC River Highlands. Cantlay's a very, very good approach player. Gains in all 4 of the major strokes gain categories. I don't know. We have to decide this whole rust, first start back thing, but Cantlay's $9,800. He should be a perfect fit for River Highlands. The $9,000 range, this is pretty stacked here. This is probably where GPPs get one, quite frankly, because you've got guys like Abraham Answer trying to decide if he's going to be able to continue his great play. One would think. I mean, the guy hit all 18 greens on Sunday, tried to steal that away from Webb before Webb just put his foot down and said, I'm going to take this now. Answer competes in all the biggest fields. Love him. Morikawa's there. Don't forget about him. Comes off a really disappointing playoff loss to Daniel Berger 2 weeks ago. Still makes the cut last week, kind of dwindles around, finishes 64th. He's still there, one of the best ball strikers on the planet. Justin Rose still trending. Justin Rose, we've talked about this. It looks like he flipped the switch going back to the TaylorMade. Looks like old Justin Rose. DJ trending in the right direction. Xander looked a little out of it since the tough loss at Colonial. So I don't know. I think you could go a lot of different places here. Preferably, I probably like backing Answer again. I probably like Rose again. I couldn't blame you for anything here. What I could blame you for, and this might backfire, I don't think I'll have that much Bubba Watson. And I get it, right? There are certain times a year there are Bubba tracks. And this certainly is a Bubba track. He's won here 3 times, most notably 2 years ago. Obviously loves this place. And he's coming in okay, he finished 52nd last week, not great. But 7th at Colonial. He had an 18th at Mexico, but he missed the cut at API. Had a 3rd at Waste Management, but missed the cut at Genesis. I guess what I'm saying is, if this guy's going to be 25% owned or whatever, and we'll see as the week goes on, I'll update the projected ownership on the site here. A little too early to tell at the moment, but if he's going to be 25% owned, consistency has never been a key attribute of Bubba Watson's game. So it's hard to stomach rostering a guy who's going to eat up this huge, it's going to be a vacuum of ownership when he is just as likely to disappoint and miss the cut as he is to win the golf tournament. So that's kind of my feel on Bubba. So game theory wise, I will probably not have too much of him. Paul Casey, 8,900. He's also making his first start since the shutdown. Unbelievable course record here. I mean, outside of Bubba, this is probably the best run. He's got 2nd place finishes in 15 and 18. He's got 5th place finishes in 17 and 19. I mean, the guy's just all over the top 5. So I don't know how worried you are about that whole factor about his first start, but looks really good. Sung J M, let's talk about him. We already talked about Sergio. Let's talk about Sung J at 86. Let me show you something here. I was going through my tools earlier, and I'm on the strokes gained database here. I'm going to go by tournament, and I'm going to go by Sungjae Im, and I'm going to sort by his worst ever putting rounds because the guy lost 4.4 strokes putting last week at Harbour Town and missed the cut. So I was like, is that his worst? That's got to be his worst event ever. Sure enough, it is. His second worst event ever, 2019 RBC Heritage. He lost 3.7 strokes putting. Those two rounds together, I thought I had this in my notebook somewhere. Here it is. Those two rounds together account for 31% of all of his strokes gained lost putting. 2 rounds, same course. So the argument here is that for whatever reason, Sungjae Im does not like those greens at Harbour Town, can't read them, can't figure it out, had his worst performance ever, and there's probably no chance that happens again. That's the argument to be made about Sungjae Im, and buying back in on him, that is the exact type of profile of a guy that I would like to buy in on. A little bit lower here, sub 8,000. JT Poston, he's playing well, back-to-back top 10s, but he's got 3 straight missed cuts here. Joaquin Niemann, I think, eats up a lot of the ownership here, 7,900. We saw the absolute flirt. I mean, what did he go? 63 Saturday, 65 on Sunday to finish 5th. And quite frankly, if he doesn't bogey 17, I think it was, we might be talking about him being the champion or him being in a playoff or him it was a really great weekend for Joaquin Niemann. In fact, let's just do this. Let's look at the weekend numbers, which is one thing I really like to do. Let's look at strokes gained tee to green for the weekend. Yeah, there he is. Joaquin Niemann led the field in strokes gained tee to green on the weekend. Abraham Answer second. Daniel Berger, Sergio Garcia, Justin Rose, Webb Simpson round out the top 6. So I guess where I'm going with this is he's going to eat up a lot of that ownership because of last week and because the only time he's played here at TPC River Highlands is a 5th place finish. I will probably get my fair share of Niemann, but I'm not super excited to be overweight and to have a lot more than everyone else. The reason for that is the same as Bubba, but Niemann's excuse is he's 21 years old and he's super volatile. It's about consistency. Outside of, before the shutdown, Niemann missed the cut at 3 straight. Genesis, he missed the cut at Honda, he missed the cut at API. That's well within the range of outcomes. So, yes, embrace the upside, understand the floor as well. Top of the 78s is pretty interesting. Victor Hovland is here again. These are slightly bigger greens. They're about 5,000 square feet compared to the 3,700 second smallest greens on tour that we saw at Harbour Town last week. So for a guy who cannot get up and down, like Victor Hovland cannot, he's told us that. Literally his quote after winning the Puerto Rico Open was, "I suck at chipping." So that's one thing. Obviously a little bit bigger greens probably help him. Still now has back-to-back top 25s. I have no problem investing there. Scotty Schaeffler's interesting, 76. There's 2 guys at 76 here. So Schaeffler, someone I liked a lot last week before we got that early WD. He was in the field and then, I think on Tuesday withdrew. The only thing I'll say about Scotty is that he almost always outperforms his finishing position with DraftKings points because he makes so many birdies. He will make a lot of bogeys as well, but the disproportionate scoring that benefits birdie makers certainly helps Scotty Schaeffler. Brian Harman is interesting. Brian Harman's 7,600 as well, and I got to tell you, I'm not a huge Brian Harman fan, but 28th last week, 23rd at Colonial, and he has a great record here at TPC River Highlands. He finished 3rd in 2015. He finished 6th in 18, 8th in 2019. I'm not thrilled, but I will say this, in the same vein of guys like Daniel Berger, who I've said I like this about, and guys like Abraham Answer, Brian Harman gained strokes in all 4 major categories this season. That's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal. It's proven itself to be a big deal because you're not relying on just one skill set to get you around the course. Bottom of the 7,000s, not really all that excited to play anybody. Ryan Palmer finds a way to pop up, but I'm not thrilled. Max Homa had a little bit of a better week last week, but we're still kind of looking for him to return to that form that we saw pre-shutdown. I probably won't play him, but this is probably your last chance to play Furyk for a while. He's an even $7,000. This is where he shot that 58. Okay, this is where he shot that 58, the only 58 on PGA in PGA Tour history. Unfortunately, he missed the cut last week, which should have been a perfect fit for him. Throwing it out there. This is your last chance if you want to play him. Under 7,000. Oh boy. We got to get a little creative here. So I think Doc Redman at 67 is interesting. Let's go to the live leaderboard. I'm going to sort by the last 3 rounds, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because Redman started out really poor on Thursday. Redman is 4th in this field in strokes gained tee to green when you combine Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the final 3 rounds of this event, behind only Abraham Answer, Sergio Garcia, and Joaquin Niemann. Doc Redman's there. Doc Redman makes a lot of birdies. Again, he can go south in a hurry, but that's legit upside, or at least scoring upside, from a guy who is 6,700. Matthew Neesmith, I know, will be popular again. He's now currently, we did this with Zach Sucher. I forget how he pronounces it. We get these darlings, these community darlings. And Neesmith is that guy right now. He kind of should be. I mean, he's 6,600. He's fine. He's a very, pretty average player on the PGA Tour, maybe slightly better than average tee to green. Now has made the cut, I think, in 10 of his last 11 starts worldwide. 33rd last week, 49th the previous week. That missed cut the 1 out of 11 was API before the end of the break there. Or the start of the break, excuse me. So I get it, right? When you're at 6,600, you're really only asking him to make the cut. Now, I will keep, obviously, I'll update the projected ownership as the week goes on, because I don't like to get chalky $6,600 guys. They are chalky for a reason. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. They are inexpensive for a reason, right? Like if Neesmith was a lot better, he'd be 8,600, not 6,600. So I hate to be on the popular guy whose long-term skill set's probably not that great. I'd rather just take flyers down here, and then if one of these guys hits and I have him at 1%, I'd probably prefer that. So I get the Neesmith stuff, but it's going to be hard to roster him as he gets over 10 or 12%. It's going to be hard. Below him, that's probably it, man. Lonto continues to struggle. Actually, I do want to look up Lonto's second round last week, because I thought it was better. It was. Okay. He gained nearly a shot and a half on approach, 1.3 tee to green. He was really bad in round 1 again. Yeah, round 1 he lost 2 on approach, 3 in putting. So I still like Lonto. Maybe not this week. At least we got a little bit of a sign from him on Friday. I mean, he went 4 under on Friday. He was already out of it by then, but at least there was a little bit of something there that maybe we'll just keep an eye on for another week and see if Lonto can kind of bounce back into that form where he was plug and play. He was plug and play below 7,000, not so much anymore. All right, that's probably it. Daniel Berger withdrew. Unfortunately, really loved the way he was setting up. He WD'd, so he's not going to play this week. He's going to take the week off. That would have been cool to see him play here. That would have been a pretty good fit for him. But yeah, that'll do it. I mean, guys, really proud of you for the week you had last week. Thanks for sending everything my way. Really appreciate it. Glad so many of us could be a part of it. Also, I will have a betting one and done preview out later in the week. Make sure you look for that. I made some pretty cool updates to the betting tools, so you'll want to be a part of that. So keep an eye out for that later in the week. But yeah, tweet me at RickRunGood. Let me know how things are going. Let me know who you like this week. Best of luck. Later.